Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us proceed towards our next session. Starting as a visionary startup, right here and scaling to become a celebrated unicorn, Molbio Diagnostics has redefined the landscape of healthcare. They are proof that precision and innovation can indeed achieve scalable sustainability on a global stage. To take us through their session on advancing India's MedTech and diagnostics manufacturing, precision, automation, innovation, regulatory excellence, and scalable sustainability, please join me in welcoming the team from Molbio Diagnostics, Ms. Sukriti Malpani, General Manager, CEO's Office, and then Dr. Abhay Raorane, General Manager of Manufacturing. Over to you all.
Thank you, ASSOCHAM, for this opportunity to let us bring to you what Molbio has been doing on the global stage for the last decade. So, if you see this device, you may not recognize it, but among the multiple COVID tests that you may have had through the pandemic, I can bet that one of the COVID tests was done on Molbio's machine. And the beauty of this innovation is that it's taken a real-world need, bringing molecular diagnostics to India right to the field level. So you can today do a molecular test in India, in this room, in an airport, in a primary health center, anywhere that you can imagine a test is needed. You can do a PCR test today because of Molbio Diagnostics. And this device that you see on the screen today was the front line in our COVID-19 response. And India was one of the few countries that was able to test at the level that we were testing, largely because of the infrastructure that the government had built by then, including devices like the TrueNat device. So to tell you why the TrueNat device is truly innovative, truly remarkable, and truly revolutionary, if you look at what PCR devices looked like, if you look at the leftmost, where my hand is pointing now, PCR devices used to be as tall as me and maybe this wide and extremely complex to operate, required sophisticated labs, required PhD scientists to run these machines. And before the pandemic, I'm sure most people hadn't even heard of the term PCR or what a PCR test was. Penetration of molecular diagnostics in India was extremely limited. And that is because it was extremely expensive to do PCR testing. If you look at the second level, the second generation of maybe PCR technology, it came closer to people, but still required expensive lab infrastructure, still required skilled labor. What Molbio did is bring PCR at the grassroots level, a battery-operated, extremely portable 1 kg solution that you can carry in a backpack, take to a primary health center, take in a mobile van, and run a PCR test at point of care. So our USP is that we bring technology right to the patient's doorstep. And the sooner that the patient has access to testing, the sooner that they can start treatment, and the sooner that they get on the path to recovery. And especially from a public health perspective, this is extremely important because public health serves, of course, big cities, but a lot of areas which don't have running electricity, water. How do you run expensive equipment that requires a sophisticated lab if you don't have even electricity in those areas? So a battery-operated solution makes sure that you can test every single person in India. We've done testing in the Andamans. We've done testing in Leh Ladakh. This machine has truly gone everywhere. So to take you through the journey of Molbio right from a startup to a unicorn where we are today, Molbio was conceptualized in the early 2000s, and then through a joint venture with Big Tech Labs, this point of care prototype was brought to life. And then through a lot of work with the Indian government to develop tests for diseases like dengue, chikungunya, malaria, hepatitis. One of the key tests that Molbio worked on was a tuberculosis test for TB. And India has a huge tuberculosis burden. And one of the issues driving this burden is that the technology that existed before molecular diagnostics was a microscope, which is only 50% sensitive, which means 50 out of 100 people that are tested using a microscopy test will test negative for TB even though they have it. You're missing 50% of the people that you test because the technology just isn't good enough. And with molecular diagnostics, if you test 100 people, you will pick 99 of those people. And that's the difference in what molecular diagnostics, which are gold standard across the globe in developed countries, can do if they're brought to the front line in India as well. So Molbio spent a lot of time between 2014 and 2020 as an MSME, in fact, strengthening the foundation, the R&D foundation, the innovation foundation, building our manufacturing capabilities. And then when 2020 came and the COVID pandemic hit, the country was ready. All of the devices that the government had deployed in the field for TB were immediately redeployed for COVID. And that's why I said these devices were the front line of India's response during the COVID pandemic. And every one of you may have gotten a test on a Molbio device, whether it's COVID or another test, even TB maybe. And since then, our technology has been WHO endorsed, of course, has gone through rigorous validation through bodies like the Indian Council for Medical Research. Molbio has now made it to unicorn status. And in terms of the regulatory landscape as well, we have navigated some extremely complex regulatory frameworks, including the CE IVDR under the new regulation. More about that in the next few slides. So we today have a state-of-the-art R&D facility, which has over 200 scientists. We have extremely sophisticated manufacturing facilities, which my colleague Dr. Abhay will take you through later in the talk. And we have GTM acceleration capabilities. We not only promote our own technologies, we also now acquire companies that we can distribute technologies for. And of course, we have an established ecosystem of partners, including the Indian government and multiple foreign governments, where we supply our portfolio of products. This is our global footprint. We're now available in 85 plus countries. Our TrueNat device has seen over 12,000 installations today. And we have supplied more than 50 million tests across the globe. COVID, TB, a lot of other tests. Any test that you can do on a PCR device, Molbio has a test for. And of course, our manufacturing capability is now more than 1.5 million tests per day. And as Dr. Abhay will explain to you later, we have built this brick by brick to where it is today. Molbio not only does molecular diagnostics, but we have also acquired radiology technology, digital radiology, breast health screening, and digital pathology. So as we've grown from an MSME to a unicorn, we've also increased our portfolio of products. And some of these tie in very well with a molecular diagnostics company. For example, if you need an end-to-end solution for TB, you not only need molecular diagnostics, you also need good screening tools that replace microscopy. So with a digital radiology solution, you can quickly do chest x-rays, and any presumptive TB cases can then quickly move on to a molecular diagnostic test. So we have complementary solutions in our portfolio that help us provide an end-to-end solution for screening and confirmatory diagnosis. And along with this, a lot of our products that you've seen on the previous slide have achieved extremely difficult to achieve regulatory approvals. Example, the US FDA, the Brazil Anvisa, CE IVDR under the new regulation. In fact, Molbio is the first Indian company that received the CE IVDR under Class C. This was last year, and we were the first Indian company to achieve this because the transition from CE IVD to CE IVDR is quite challenging. And of course, the MD-SAP program, which makes us eligible to sell in the US, Canada, Japan, Australia, and other developed markets. To take you through Molbio's manufacturing capabilities, all of the amazing work that we've done in automation, energy conservation, I hand over the mic to Dr. Abhay Raorane, who has architected a lot of Molbio's automation capabilities, a lot of Molbio's renewable energy initiatives. So yeah, over to Dr. Abhay.
Thank you, Sukriti. Good afternoon, my name is Abhay. I'm cutting it short and starting my slides. So, when we started in 2008, 2009, that time, as Sukriti explained, there was a need of the device which can able to take PCR from big setup to small labs, very remote areas and all. So that was a need of the ours that time. So we were having basically two major challenges. First one is of the accuracy of the test. Okay, just imagine if you are trying to make it battery operated, very small thing, then you will lose on this accuracy. That accuracy means what? It is the sensitivity and specificity of the test. Okay, so that was the first challenge. So to address that challenge, what we did we found out one technology called as lab on chip thermocycling. So you can see this is a chip. You can see here that is a chip having a thermocycling LTCC, which is we have mounted on the green PCB, a very small PCB. Okay, so this particular thermocycler, it acting as a big lab. Okay, so this is a technology which is helping us to do the PCR inside the in the very small environment. So there is one video here. So you can see at extreme left. So basically what we need in PCR is a heat function. You need to alter the temperatures from the high to low. So this particular chip is when your device is giving a current to the chip, then the chip get hits and you can see the sample is going down and the protective wax covering coming on top and the reaction happening down. So this is kind of thermocycling is happening in the very small devices, very small area. So if you talk about the energy conservation, if you want to run any mid-district lab at PHC level or CHC level, you need somewhere around 80 to 200 kWh of power. Okay, and if you need this kind of setups at remote area, that was our second aim, to make the device accurate as well as accessible. So just imagine the area wherein there is no power, then how you will go ahead. So what we did, we have done three different approaches. First, I explained you about designing the thermocycler, which is able to carry out the PCR on its own. Second one is as Sukriti explained about the battery operated devices. Okay, so these are the devices you can charge and run for the 8 hours. All of our devices you can run for 8 hours. So one shift easily can go with one charge. And third one is very important thing, mini solar panels. So this is, so you can see here at right corner, this is one place in Africa wherein there was no electricity. So we have installed somewhere around 330 devices for their TB control program. Those were running with the solar systems. So you can see the impact over here. If you take the devices or the PCR near to the patient, then what can happen? So you can see here the rate of rate of detection. You can see it's somewhere around 7.3% when you are going to testing of the sample at 0 day. Okay, and when you are testing with the regular device like gene experts and all, so that is taking somewhere around 7 days to get the results. So if you are going near to the patient and you are getting the results very fast, then you can start the treatment very fast. So that is the impact. So we could able to start the treatment at 0 days, somewhere around 63%, and almost 98% of treatment initiation happen in 7 days. So the TB is very contagious disease, and if you want to control it, you need to treat it very fast, else people will transfer it aggressively. So that is the impact of having the technology, right technology, and then devices with the right intention, and the solar system which can able to go to the very remote area wherein there is no electricity. So this is the kind of impact we are trying to create. And if you see from the energy conservation level, almost 80 to 200 kWh power what we are discussing, that is saved, you can say here. So to talk about the manufacturing, what to do? So we are talking about the so many manufacturing lines. As she explained about the run rate of 30 lakh tests per month. So what we are doing in the manufacturing line is about risk management. So I'm going to talk from the energy conservation level point of view. So when we are actually setting up any line, what we are saying is about not about the operational excellence. We are also saying the patient care. So what we did, we have now started designing the automation line, which can able to save on the inspection, which can work on the efficiently on the inspection, and parallelly we are saving on the energy. So you can see here the first one you can play here. You can see we have developed a very small robots, Skara robots, wherein we have done an inspection locally. So before this, our line were semi-manual lines. So what we used to do, we are under a complete assembly used to keep people sitting, and with a light of somewhere around 800 to 900 lux, we used to screen the chips. So now we have developed this kind of machines wherein we are working on the reduction of the consumption of the electricity. So these are the so in the automation, what we are doing is basically we are using an integrator approach. So along with the energy saving, we are trying to integrate the SAP, that is the inventory modules. Then we are trying to control the BMR through the eBMR modules, which is again saving on the papers. So if you see IVD and IVD devices as well as MedTech devices, whatever it is, you have to keep the paper as a BMR. You have to use the all paper for the BMR, so writing the BMR. So we are trying to have a eBMR system, which is trying or saving on the paper. Then environmental monitoring. So definitely for the manufacturing, you need a proper or precise temperature and RH controls, or any environment if you want to design. So for controlling it, people used to use so many equipment, but we have designed one small system called as Inventor on Board, which is taking up the data continuously and putting into the SAP or as on the dashboard, which is giving or integrating all the data together and trying to get the reports. Again, we are trying to design UDI/DI system in the SAP. So again, software systems are if you are trying to integrate with the one need or two need in one software, that is helpful. For if you see the UDI/DI, that is coming from the JSI softwares, but we are trying to use SAP as a first inventory software that can give us a UDI/DI also. Again, the uses of robots, small robots instead of big robots. Okay, so for the energy consumption point of view, if you are using cobot or maybe a Scala robot, or which is T3 or T6 robot, then the energy consumption, again the costing is too high. So in those cases, we can use for this kind of small robot with the precise end of tool machineries, wherein we can able to lift a very small component like 2 mm or 3 mm component, and you can assemble on the line. So this kind of machine designing along with the SPI and all that can help us to save on the energy. You can play this. So this is 6-axis spider robots with special end of tooling doing the assembly for us. Go. You can see some images of our manufacturing facilities, the live lasers. Again, we are using precise manufacturing filling lines, wherein we have we have done the inbuilt inspection system. So lines are going, and then post manufacturing of SFGs on there is inline AI-based inspection system, wherein you are getting the real-time data of failure. Okay, so that kind of things are helping us. You can see. So it is filling parallelly chips and then inspecting. So this inspection we were doing earlier manually, and we used to consume lot of luxes for the. So this is a buffer filling line. This line also was initially were getting screened with the human eyes, but now we have done integration of AI cameras, 3 or 4 cameras taking the image and then taking a call on rejection or acceptance. the filling in it, then this capping in it. Post that, is a one more final capping, and then here it is. You can see you get getting images, and then accordingly things are getting accepted or rejected. Further it is going for labeling. So these kind of small automations you can do, and then save on the money and power. Basically, you can save the power. So this is one more line called cartridge inspection line, wherein we have done, we have used the gravity as an energy. So for the lifting of the cartridges or maybe any part, you need some kind of robot. So we try to minus the robot from there and try to put try to use the gravity and allow cartridge to fall from one conveyor belt to other conveyor belt. You can see here. You can play this. So cartridge is falling from there and coming on the line. So again here we were initially using a lot of manpower to inspect the cartridges manually, but here now things are automated and getting inspected. Both the side of the cartridge getting inspected. So these particular lines, everywhere we used to maintain somewhere around 500 to 600 lux of electric light, but now we are reducing down and cutting short on the electricity and inspecting with the help of cameras. So this inspection is happening under camera, and you can see the reports here, either pass or fail. So for the subcomponents like tubes, and we can feed with the small feeders, and then it will finally go for inspection and packaging. So for this kind of high throughput end-to-end lines, you need to understand the requirement, and then you can save more on the energies. So regulatory and QMS excellence. So we are right now following ISO 13485 2016, which is which is the standard what we are following for manufacturing the kits. And the CDSO is our regulatory body governing the all these manufacturing and giving this license for different types of tests. So we are now trying to go for export readiness. So as Sukriti explained, we are the first IVDR enabled. We are having IVDR certification, and we are the first Indian company is having the IVDR for CT and NG, Chlamydia, Trichomonas, and Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Then we are having a MDSAP, which is a single audit approach. That certification also we have. CE marking also we have. Okay, so sustainable and green manufacturing approaches. So here we can discuss more. So for example, adoption of green manufacturing practices to minimize environmental impact. So how we can do that? So I will just give an example of component what we are designing. So you can see the very small tray. Okay, so if you are whatever approach of saving the carbon footprint should be coming from the designing, not from the only controlling the manufacturing, and then you will save on the plastic and all. So how we are doing, we are trying to minimize the usage of plastic. So you can see multiple holes wherein there is a plastic is not required. Okay, and this component is basically biodegradable, made up from the PHB and lactic acid composition of both. So these kind of things can help us to reduce the carbon footprint, and it will be a kind of biodegradable plastic you can use to assemble your components. So as I mentioned here, the oxoplastic was a biodegradable plastic. So oxoplastic is again new term is coming into the raw material selection. Oxoplastic is something which is getting degraded by the help of your environmental oxygen and UVs. So, but there is a question mark coming in, like the component which is getting degraded, those are the microplastics. So we have to again think whether the generating microplastic or nanoplastic is really good, or go for the biodegradable plastic. So what we are preferring is to select or go for the biodegradable plastic, but it is costly. But so many researchers going on to make it affordable. Then the reduction of the hazardous waste. So reduction of hazard, because in the manufacturing lines it is impossible to go without any chemicals wash throwing into the environment. So I will just give an example what we are doing. So there is a BSA, it's a bovine serum albumin, it's a protein basically. So that protein, when it is going into the STBs and all, it is getting degraded further and generating nano particles of BSA. Okay, nano BSA. So these, one of the auditor, when we were discussing, he was telling us is a blocker of your nervous systems. So in those cases, okay, if you are not using BSA, because BSA is a backbone of coating for the IVD industries. So if you are not using BSA, then it is very impossible to go ahead with the coating exercise. So what we did, we are now trying to coat this BSA with the waste FAB antibodies. Okay. So if you block that, then degradation is not possible, and then micro BSA forms are not getting formed. So this kind of approaches we are using to reduce on the hazardous waste, so that whatever impact is coming in from the waste chemical, which is hazardous for the nature, can be reduced further. So what our focus is for the when we are generating or designing the plant or any HVAC system, we are trying to use VFD driven motors. Okay, I think this is a common thing, use of the energy saving fans or blowers for the HVAC systems. Selection of the dry area. So when any technical person is defining the manufacturing area, that person is very important to select or opt for proper flow of manufacturing flow. Else we cannot design complete rooms for the dry area and then consume continuous energy. So it is very helpful if you can part your activities and define where you want exactly dry area, and then accordingly you can design the manufacturing flow. It will help you to first save on the cost, and second is you can save on the energy on the day-to-day's life. So these are some projects what we are actually implemented 4 or 5 years back. You can see our all manufacturing sites are having solar panel. So total capacity is somewhere around 1,500 kWh, and now in 4 years we have whatever capital we have invested, we are able to recover completely. So now whatever we are getting in future will be a profit for us. So it was very good. I think government of Goa also, the department helped us to take care of many calls during this installation. So this is actually catering over 20% of energy requirement. So that much impact is coming in after having these 4 different plant with the solar coverage. Then the second picture you can see, we are working on rainwater harvesting. So our 2 plants basically having big giant capacities of 1 lakh liter of water saving tank. So in 6 months in Goa, I think 4 to 5 months is raining. And it is very, we are not purchasing any water from GIDC or from the tankers during these 6 months. So it is very helpful for us. And the same water we are using for, we are having the filtration unit. So what we are doing, you have seen these chips. So for the chips, the washing of the chips, we require somewhere around 16,000 KLD of water every day. So we are not throwing that water. What we are doing, we are collecting the water and then we are again recirculating it, because the chip is not having anything. It is an inert material. So whatever is wash coming out is not having any contaminant. So it's just a minor dust. So we have done RO and then EDI systems, which is filtering it out, and then that particular water we can reuse continuously. So this kind of approaches we use for in the manufacturing lines. So for that, when you are designing the plant, that time you should separate your lines. So the line, the good water coming out from the lines that you have to separate. You should have a separate plumbing lines when you are building the manufacturing facilities. So that kind of approaches we use. So we are able to segregate the chemical waste, biological waste, and good water lines. So because of that, we can able to take care of these recirculation loops. So the capacity of this line is somewhere around 5 KLD, and as I told you, 4 to 5 months we are getting water free of cost. So this kind of approaches we are trying to use to make the manufacturing sustainable, and which is, we can say, is a green approach for designing, developing the manufacturing flows. Thank you very much. Dev bare karo. If any questions, we can discuss. I think no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the Molbio Diagnostics team for your enlightening session that beautifully captured the future of India's MedTech and diagnostics manufacturing. Let us now watch a short video by Canara Bank, which we all know is actively integrating environment sustainability into its corporate strategy, focusing on green financing, renewable energy project funding, and internal energy saving measures to align with India's climate goals.
Canara Bank celebrates the spirit of entrepreneurship, exclusive support for MSMEs. Government-sponsored schemes, PM Swanidhi, PM Vishwakarma, PM Mudra Yojana, PM EGP. Canara GST, to provide credit for GST-registered borrowers. Loan from Rs 10 lakh. Canara MSME Star, to provide credit facilities to MSMEs. Minimum loan above Rs 10 lakh. Canara MSME Textile meets credit requirements of textile industries. Canara MSME In, for financing MSMEs in the hotel industries. Loan from Rs 10 lakh to Rs 25 crore. Introducing Canara MSME Credit Card, the perfect growth partner for MSME borrowers. For more information, please contact your nearest branch. Canara Bank. Together we can.